What does it look like when the GOP House does their job? Well, filing articles of impeachment against Vice President Harris for her lack of work on the southern border as the borders are, and for her intentional obfuscation of President Biden's cognitive decline. These are two very serious issues, and the Republicans should have moved on this about a year and a half ago, but instead they have waited until now. And doing this will actually call attention to the fact that she was named the border czar by President Biden. He may not remember that, but we all do. And to prove that it's something they don't want her to be held accountable for, Axios has an article out describing how she has never been named border czar. So what are you going to do? Yeah. I like to make the mealy mouth voice when I hear them trying to gaslight us. They're literally gaslighting us into thinking that something we saw happen didn't happen because a lot of Americans weren't paying attention. That is the sign of an empire in decline, when people are literally told something that they saw never happened. You never saw her declare the border czar. You never saw her travel down to the Northern Triangle countries. You never saw her get asked about it by reporters. Do you remember her being asked? A reporter asked her why she'd never been to the southern border. And she said, I've never been to Europe either. That doesn't mean that anything. It doesn't mean anything just because I've never been to Europe and I've never been to the southern border. She flew over the southern border many times. She flew near it many, many times on Air Force Two, but she has yet to actually go to the border and discharge her duties of basically standing there and saying, this is wide open. There are rape trees here. There are children being sex trafficked here. There are rapes and murders going on here. Migrants are dying on American soil on the land of ranchers because of heat exhaustion and other illnesses. The border towns are overwhelmed. There are multi-billion-dollar bills that are unpaid for people who've been brought into the country who are sick, and their first stop when they arrive in country is for U.S. Customs and Border Patrol to take them to the emergency room so that they can be brought back to life and given care for a myriad of illnesses and diseases, some of which haven't been seen in this country ever, and some of which haven't been seen in this country for over 100 years due to our heavy vaccination schedule. So there's a lot going on. And the Republicans should actually follow through with this. Don't just make this a news soundbite. Give us some meat to eat. We don't want hors d'oeuvres. We want actual full-blown pot roast with the veggies. We want it made with wine, and we want it cooked in a slow cooker over 8 hours. Give us the full-blown articles of impeachment and let us dine in. If we're going to be in a honeymoon period over the polling and everything else, we should have something to gnaw on while we wait. Now, I mentioned that polling in the last segment. I want to give you just a couple of things. Team Trump actually sent out a little bit of a news missive, and they were talking about the fact that we're going to see polling for Harris, particularly national public polls where Harris is gaining or even leading President Trump. Now, the situation is totally uncharted, and there's no territory like this ever before in politics. There's no modern historical parallel, but analysts can tell us what to expect. And some things haven't changed due to the events of the past 2 weeks, and that includes the highly successful convention that the Republicans put on. President Trump has had a bump in the numbers, and those numbers are real. Those are people who bought into what they saw at the convention, and the Democrats announcing a new candidate isn't going to change that. People who are on the fence are going to still continue to hold their powder and wait until after the Democrat convention to see exactly what they're presenting. Just announcing Harris as the candidate right now isn't enough to sway serious people who are independents, who are looking and trying to make a decision before they go and cast their vote. So I just reiterate to you, as somebody's mom on television, I got to tell you, repetition is it's the hallmark of the good. We don't have anything to worry about here until after the convention, when the real poll numbers begin to materialize. And even then, it's still a race on the ground, because this is person to person, house to house, a get out the vote effort where people need to be told one of these particular candidates and their party platform portends this for you. The other party platform portends this for you. And then after that explanation, giving them the real personal experience that you've had in both administrations, because now we've had a chance to try them both out. It's a true comparison election, which is something we don't often see. So Black Lives Matter demands an open primary for the Democrat nomination. They are sick and tired of having installed candidates. I never thought I would see myself agree with them. And up next, George Soros supports Kamala Harris. We'll discuss that after the break. Stay right there.